that was in 1998.
Why it says plus four.
Pass. We also used to have horse and rabbit.
Okay, but we're only gonna work on the
Don't have
first
that
one tonight.
anymore.
But at least we have them and we can make sure that they get added to future agendas.
Yes.
And sorry, that was my confusion. I thought that that's how we left it after our
You,
meeting.
No,
you
kinda
did,
That, okay,
so the way that the board left it, right, and then there was some follow-up communications between in the office.
yeah,
And that left it fuzzy
yeah, okay.
and
And it's totally fine. Like
and I wasn't paying any attention to the fuzz,
yeah,
so it,
yeah. And I should have looked at it over the,
But we're
more
going-
closely over the weekend, and I didn't.
we're gonna go ahead and roll the dice that we're not gonna get caught, that we can,
There's no dice, it's old business, we've already talked about it. We just had a license app come in late, there's no reason to,
okay.
sorry, we can have that conversation literally in a minute.
Staffing updates, huh? That's late in the meeting.
Big post-holiday crowd tonight. This is good. Oh, no, I spoke too soon. How do we know when cable is ready? Did they give us a little sign?
I will go.
Yell, touch the screen.
Ready?
I just sent you an email because I didn't have a printer at home because I realized there was an error with the fiscal year on that bill. There's nothing on it.
So, okay,
It should have been 26.
okay.
Right.
I'll take my usual card. I'll sit next to Louis. You can
Hello, how are you?
We're all ready to go.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Hey.
Jacob.
There you go.
Hey, we're all ready to
Hey,
go.
we're all ready to go. Everybody good? Getting comfortable? I like that the people who are here chose to sit as far from us as you possibly can. You literally, every one of you, 5 of you. All right,
That's true.
everybody good?
Sure.
Fantastic. Good evening, welcome to Select Board meeting of Monday, July 6th, 2026. It is 6:01 PM. We are live here at the lower level of the Rutland Free Public Library, and we are also on Zoom. Looks like we've got at least one person here with us. The meeting is now called to order. If we could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. We'll start right in with number 1, minutes, treasury warrant and payroll. Could I get a motion to sign treasury warrant 2627 and 26 payroll 27 in addition to 27-1 and 27 payroll 1.
So moved. Oh, second.
That was super impressive. All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Or actually, is there any discussion?
That's it.
Know what I?
Thank you.
Wait a minute.
Second I.
And goodbye. Unanimous, thank you. We have one set of meeting minutes that are in your packet from June 22nd to approve.
Motion to approve the June 22nd, 2026 meeting minutes as presented.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
That's it.
Know what I?
Whitman, I with appreciation to Tamika for her last set of minutes for us.
Second I.
And Dib, aye, thank you. Is there anybody in the audience for public comment? Name and address, please. You could have stayed there,
It's all right,
since there's nobody in front of you.
that's okay. Thank you, though. Lou Carnicoli, 18 Blueberry Lane. A few things I'd like to talk about tonight. I'll make them quick. I know you have a busy night. Update. Flagpoles and lighting. As you know, I've donated 2 lights, but I'm in the process of getting 2 more so that all 5 poles owned by the town of Rutland will be lit at night with solar lights. The bucket truck that we share with other communities, I'm told, is under repair. But a former member of this community, a terrifically great guy, he's now, too bad he has to live in Holden, but he's down in Holden, but he's still a Rutlandite true at heart, has said to me that he would lend his bucket truck to put up the lights. So when I run down the next 2 and I talk with the DPW head, Chris, we'll get working on that. And the young man is by the name of Paulsen. I grew up in this town. He's a good kid, a really really good kid. I like Derek. He's a good boy. We're also moving forward. We may do the lighting at the bandstand without waiting for the school. There's an electrician here in town who I will not name right now until we finalize it, who has given me a very reasonable price to do the labor, and it would get done quickly. And as you know, the material is being donated by a young man who used to live in this town, who was in that business. So the material itself won't cost us any money, and the labor for the electrician, I shouldn't have any trouble fundraising some money to pay for that. So we're hopefully moving forward with that. Maybe we'll get it done in the very, very near future. So that's just to bring you up to speed on those couple of projects that I've been involved with. Now to get into material that actually brought me to this meeting. With the canceling of some of the 4th of July activities, there has been a tremendous amount of activity starting to wean itself, as activity like that usually does, on social media around the canceling of the fireworks and the parade. Many of the people, in my opinion, having been in this town for 53 years, having sat where you sat for 9 years, having been involved as a citizen and in my other work life, dealing with human beings, both as a teacher and as a union person, I find that usually the people who squawk the most in a negative way are those who quickly shut up and move on and really have no solution. What I'm disappointed about is whoever made the decision that on our website that we were only going to have certain things be put up and we were canceling other things being said on our website. That's what I've heard around town. So in other words, anything negative, you're giving me this quizzical look, so maybe, again, misinformation. If that's misinformation, I'm happy as a clam. I've been told that information relative to July 4th weekend, if it was negative stuff, was not being allowed, and you people, the town has been getting banged on social media for the fact that stuff was not allowed on. If in fact stuff was not allowed on, my own personal opinion, I'm not on the board, I don't make these decisions anymore. My own personal opinion is I would never shut speech down unless it was threatening speech. If they were threatening somebody's life or somebody's livelihood, that's a different story. But if people want to moan and groan, let them moan and groan. Let them moan and groan, still under the First Amendment. So that's one of the issues. I have another issue, but I see a lot of quizzical looks, so I'll shut up for a minute.
Okay, so typically we don't respond at public comment, but I do want to respond to that because it was at the last meeting, which I think you were unable to attend. The board did take a vote to proactively shut down the ability to comment on our social media channels. That does not mean people could not come into our meetings, send an email, make a phone call, send a letter, whatever they want to do, send it by snail mail, by Pony Express. Because we have such a short staff right now, monitoring social media for communities that do it robustly is a full-time job. Doing public information office stuff, PIO, is a full-time job. So because we cannot monitor our social media channels to that point, we are only going to use them to share information, and people are still fully able to take those posts. I think that's what you're seeing. They might share them elsewhere on private groups, in private pages, whatever they want to do. This is only about the town's social pages, which are no longer taking comments because we can't monitor them effectively.
I understand that.
That's
And
it.
I don't care about private media. I could care less.
Yeah.
What I write on Facebook is what I write on. If you don't like it, you can tell me to go jump in a lake and that's fine, or you don't have to read it. But I'm concentrating on what is the town's. I understand about the fact that we don't have the people to monitor stuff like that. But I don't even see why it should be monitored. People want to write on it, it just pops up on the social media. It doesn't. We don't need someone on the other end to make sure it pops up. Do we?
Well,
Yes.
well,
We
yeah,
need, somebody has to open up the, The computer, it just doesn't go up?
Well,
No.
I mean, Mr. Cannacchioli, keep it, I would look at it this way. Facebook is a private entity. Ultimately, it's a
understand that.
private entity, and
I
we can
understand
only control so much of
I
it. So
understand.
we use it as a tool, but we
Okay.
are going to be limiting the tools.
All right,
That we use.
I don't wanna belabor this thing to
Yeah.
death. Just, again, my opinion, I would never shut down anything. I would let people talk, let them rant, because they're not gonna rant for very long. The complainers, the real complainers, the moaners, the groaners, they moan and groan because it's an excuse for them to say, I didn't do anything to help. So now I feel better by saying, well, town, you shouldn't be doing, what are you hiding, what are you hiding, let them talk, let them rant, let them rave. As long as they don't threaten anybody or threaten anybody's harm, let them go. Enough about that. Thank you for giving me all the info on that, and that issue, as far as I'm concerned, is an issue that's over with. I will continue to write my little prose on Facebook, and I have been giving the town a lot of compliments and trying to educate people that what they did was not vindictive, what the town did was not vindictive. It was all a public safety issue. But people are gonna believe what they wanna believe. My last issue, which is the most important issue while I'm here. As you know, during the 5 or 6 months that you deliberated the last year's budget, the budget that was we had at the annual town meeting this year, I was out of town. I wasn't involved in any of it, and I was not aware of anything until I got here at the town meeting. I saw actions take place at the town meeting that I was very disappointed at, and eventually the override went down. Okay, and things had to take place, and things had to happen the way they did. So I'm just concerned about the citizens who took the time, and I happened to be uptown the day that we were cleaning the Civil War monument, and the people were getting signatures to have a special town meeting, which we did in May, 14th or 16th, I can't remember the exact date. I went over and signed it, and within a short period of time, they got the number of votes, of signatures they needed. I think if they kept going, they probably could have got thousands of them, but they got what they needed. We came to that meeting. It was a very good meeting, I thought. 3 articles, 2 of them a little bit of, give and take. The school budget, always the school budget has give and take. There's no problem about that. I've been involved with school budgets since I started teaching in 1969, so I know exactly what's going on, all my years with the union. So that's exciting. It was good. It was good back and take. I thought most people were very amicable, and it passed. Beautiful. Now we come to the question about another override. And again, good bantering back and forth. I thought it was civil. I thought the superintendent did a great job of presenting stuff. People did a nice job, and it passed by a 2-to-1 margin, which to me is pretty good. You get 2-to-1. I've been going to town meetings since 1973. 1973. I look around this room. I don't know if there's anybody else in this room that's been going to meetings since 1973, except for Mr. Mattson. Okay, so he and I have seen town meetings. I know what they're about. I love town meetings. I try never to miss because it's exciting theater. Anyway, so we walk away thinking we're going to have another override vote, or at least there's a potential, because it was a very strong 2-to-1 to me. When I was a selectman, if 3 people came in and 2 said we want this, and one person says no, when we were deliberating, we're thinking, well, 2 people, that's a pretty good percentage of people in town, if we build it out, that want this particular thing. Now I'm told, and this is a long way to get to my question. I'm told, and I want you to clarify it for me tonight, that even prior to that meeting we had in May, that this board had already made a decision not to have another override vote for this year. Is that a true statement? Did somebody kid me about that? That going into that meeting on May 14th or 16th, whatever that date was, that no matter what the outcome of that vote was, that the Board of Selectmen had no intention of running another override for this particular, to help fund the budget that we're in right now. That was already a decision that was already made prior to the meeting. If that's true, then I must say I'm very disappointed. Because that night, as I think back on that night, the board was very quiet. I don't remember any of you, or maybe one or two of you, participating in any kind of discussion. And to me, it sounded like, okay, if it prevails, then the selectmen are gonna think very seriously, and maybe let's have an override vote. My understanding was if we acted quick enough, we could have tied it to an election that was already planned, that wouldn't have cost us any money. Wouldn't have cost the town any more money to have an override vote, because we had a state election or some kind of election coming up in the fall. But then I heard that it was already made, the decision was already made, no override for this fiscal year. So my question to you is that true? Was the decision made by this board that no matter what the outcome of that meeting was, you had no intentions of having an override vote? And now, end with that.
Okay, so that item is number 6 under old business. I don't know if you're staying, but that's literally number 6. Consider special town election for FY 2027 override.
So the answer then is, what I was told was not true.
Well,
So I'm glad to hear that. You don't have to tell me anymore. If what you're saying, if you're gonna talk about it tonight, okay? If you're gonna talk about it tonight, then that says to me that what I was told, by pretty good sources, by the way, that's not true. And I applaud you for it, because if you had made the decision prior to that meeting, I would have been very, very disappointed in you as a group. For doing something like that. But you didn't do it. It's still an open discussion item. Good luck. Thank you very much for your time. Have a good night.
Does anybody want to reply to that?
I mean, I'll simply say, I think we had taken a sense of the board twice, I believe, on where we all stood for an override prior to the meeting. And the sense of the board was that we weren't interested in it at the time. That doesn't mean that a decision was made, and obviously because we're still gonna talk about it on item 6, that will change, but at the time there was, so I don't necessarily think you're getting incorrect information, except for the fact that no decision has technically been made, which
So there
is.
was no formal vote.
No.
okay.
What?
Well, there might have been a formal vote of where we stood at the time, but again, that doesn't mean that we can't change, no?
I don't
No,
think
we
there's any formal
I don't
vote.
recall, to be honest.
We, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, we discussed it quite a bit. It's unfortunate you weren't here to hear that.
I can't make all the meetings,
Yeah.
but maybe I should start to come to all of
Well,
them.
I'm just saying, that was a big meeting where the board deliberated a lot about it. And I think the consensus was that the town, again, correct me, the town needed the money for an override. But I believe the board may have felt that we didn't have the backing of the town to go through another override, because we got this one shot down, the last one. So if the town speaks, I guess the board looks at it and says, maybe we were, you can add, what do we do then? Do we power the board over the town and say, we don't care what you said? If you don't have an appetite for an override, we're gonna push one on you anyways? That's not a democratic process, Lou.
I understand that.
Okay.
I understand
We're
that,
only
but it was a
public
2
comment.
to 1 at the special town meeting, again.
Miss-
People, if I may,
No, Mr.
Okay,
Brinkley, no,
all right,
this is
okay.
public
you
comment.
know where I'm coming from.
I do. Remember, this is gonna be number 6. It was made very clear at the special town meeting that vote for the resident petition was to get a sense of the meeting and would not require the board to do anything, but it certainly could inform the board,
I
which is
understand that.
why it is on the agenda. So we will circle back. Hopefully you're gonna stay.
Okay, I
Is
will
there
shut up.
anybody else here for public comment?
Go
Who
ahead.
wants to go?
No, please. Give me time to
I'm
think
gonna
about it.
address item 6 in a second, but I just wanna answer that one with the town meeting. The town meeting, I can't know how you can base anything on 200 votes. I mean, we got almost 10,000 people in town, 7,400 votes. But before I make my comment on that, it just brings up to mind something I was reading this weekend with another town that had 24,000 votes, and it was Norwood. They did pass the override by only 400 votes. We had 25% of the town that voted, which is high for any town. That's high. That's unusual numbers. They only had 11. It passed. Ironically, they're listening to the people's comments are the same ones we're hearing here from the yes people. We weren't notified. We weren't told enough. You should have come knocking on our doors. The same comments. So I don't think we had a justified amount anyway, but I just want to say that, and it's your decision to come up with your meeting for that. And yes, at the town meeting, and it was never decided by you, it was a no action to be discussed at a future date, which is what you're doing tonight, by the way. Item 6 is what you said you were gonna do, discuss it at a future date. There was no action taken for an override.
Okay, just to clarify, the no action was that we did not take a position on the citizens
Correct.
petition, which is
Correct,
consistent with pretty much all history of the board.
right. and
But
you
that's
were bringing-
different from this,
Correct,
doesn't stop a discussion. Okay,
correct.
as long as we're clear.
I was agreeing with you. That's-
Thank you, good, always,
Anyway.
always good.
I'm here tonight to urge this board to hit the brakes on a summer override vote. In May, the town voted on all 3 overrides. No. In a democracy, elections have consequences. Pushing for an immediate do-over right now ignores the clear message that the voters just sent. No has to mean no. Doesn't mean the future, but I'm saying now. We all know the reality we're facing. Costs are up. Rising property values have squeezed our residents' wallets very tight. And a systemic lack of state funding has left the town short. Hard cuts have already been made. And nobody wants to see our services diminish. But forcing another ballot this summer, one that in all likelihood just might fail, is not the answer. It will only deepen the divide we have in our community. Instead of looking for a quick fix at the ballot box, we need to build a bridge between these two sides and work together. We need to pivot toward a long-term strategic plan that addresses our structural need without constantly asking taxpayers for more. We should be actively exploring structural changes, evaluating whether we can privatize certain departments, regionalize departments, or maybe even share municipal services with our neighboring towns to save on overhead. Let's stop reacting, start planning, put differences aside, look to each other for answers. Now is the time. Now is the time for leadership, collaboration, and a sustainable blueprint for Rutland's future. Not another divisive vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Name and address, please. If I didn't, Mike, can you name and address real quick? Because I feel like I left you out there.
Okay,
Your name.
Mike DeVarick is Stevens Way.
Thank you.
I'm Saronda Jackson. I'm on River Road. I'm a lifelong resident of the Wachusett district, but new to Rutland.
Welcome.
Thank you. I grew up in Holden. And I want to kind of bounce off of, what was your name?
Lou,
What Lou was talking about, because, you know, on Facebook and X and things like this town got a lot of national publicity for canceling the 4th of July parade, I'm sure you know, Ms. Gibbs. And I wanted to push back on the comments because he's right. It's not that hard to leave the comments open on a Facebook page. Like, I manage a couple of groups myself, and it's easy to set standards and parameters on if you see bad words and stuff, they don't get posted, but people are allowed to speak, and they weren't here. And one thing that really struck me was how the people were so, 4th of July is such a big deal, and it's our nation's 250th birthday. You know, and people were excited. And Rutland, and growing up in the Wachusett district, Rutland has always been the place that you go for the 4th of July, right? So the money was collected, there were private donations. But so it wasn't it wasn't a point of not having the money to fund it, but the public safety, right? But then the sheriff's office was so kind, and a lot of people came together, and a lot of people worked really hard behind the scenes to bring the sheriff's office to get behind having the public safety issue totally squashed. You need public safety officers? I'll give them to you. Here you go. But it was totally shot down, and we didn't know why. And without having the public discourse, and forgive me because I am new here, I've been going to RTC meetings and other, like, on Beacon Street to talk to senators and congressmen too there, but I'm new here to Rutland, so forgive me if this has already been discussed, but it just seems that it was shot down with such disregard for the fact that this was our nation's 250th birthday and Rutland couldn't even take a gift of free public servants to come and what, just like walk the streets and make sure we're safe? I went to parades over the 4th of July. I didn't see a huge police presence and nothing happened. Unless in Boston, but we don't count that because that's like a different world, right? But here in Rutland, to cancel it, even though we had someone as well respected by all people as Lou Evangelitis, and I'm speaking as someone whose husband spent 4 months in the Hotel Evangelitis, which is what we call the Worcester County House of Corrections, for carrying his legal firearms across the border of this state. I still respect that man. And thought it was huge of him to say, here's your public safety officers. So I'm not sure if there's anything on the record why Rutland shot that down so quickly and without any public comment. So I came here because I was curious to hear from you guys what the actual reason was, because it seemed like it was a real easy fix. The money had come in privately for the event. So being a public safety issue, the sheriff's office coming in saying we'll take care of that seemed like a no-brainer to me. And I thought that, all right, sweet, we get to spend America's 250th birthday next to my hometown and celebrating. And we didn't get to do that. So I want to know whose decision it was, how it was decided, and like what were the reasons that the sheriff's office wasn't allowed to come in here and actually help us here? Because it seems egregious.
Thank you. We appreciate you coming in here
Yeah.
and to answer what you started with. The idea of people coming in and speaking their minds and going on the record, whether it's in person or via Zoom, writing to us is one thing. The social media management, and I hear you, I also manage some pages, is a different animal. And it's an ongoing discussion. It was something that coming off of what we had to deal with, which did include some threatening things, as well as the loss of a lot of staff, it felt like that was the most responsible decision in the moment. So that decision stands for now. Regarding 4th of July, that is not on our agenda tonight, but it will be. And so while we're not going to have a discussion about 4th of July again tonight, because I don't have it on the agenda, you're here for public comment, again, I appreciate it, I absolutely will put it on the next agenda.
Wonderful. Is it once a month or once a week?
Twice.
Twice a month?
Well, every other Monday.
Wonderful, I'll be here.
So you have a week off and then back you come and it will be under
Okay.
probably old business.
If I may, just to follow up a little bit on this, the social media posting
Yep.
stuff, because it's, and Heather, correct me if I'm wrong, but because it's government based, we're not allowed to screen comments at all. So any hate comments, threatening comments, comments filled with vulgar language, other pages can censor, can put algorithms in to just not allow that. As government, we're not allowed to.
Okay,
So
you're
it's all or nothing.
Okay.
And we can't even go in, and if there's, I mean, there were some very threatening comments made to staff and to some volunteers and who've served on boards and committees. And so in response to not being legally allowed to, because that would be a First Amendment infringement, we decided to shut off all comments, which is not, because social media isn't a guaranteed, you're not guaranteed the right on social media.
Right.
So that's,
Because there's consequences to what you say on social media.
Yeah.
Correct.
and so it needs to be maintained as public record. And so that's a policy right now, partially because there were so many threats there were a lot of threats being made to staff and volunteers, and partially because it became overwhelming and inundated for our staff, as the chair had mentioned earlier. So
Yeah, well, the town got it was
Yeah.
national news
Thank-
and
thank you.
so.
We're super well aware.
Oh, yeah, I know you are.
If I could just piggyback on that, that also prior to all of this, our social media posts did not garner thousands of comments as this one did. And so we also, in addition to not being able to pick and choose which comments, we're also required to maintain them as a public record. Just like any email that comes in or any letters that we get, those are preserved forever as public documents. So every single comment that came in also has to be maintained as a permanent public record. And when a post goes up under, I guess, normal times, where you have 10 comments at most, it's very easy for us to log and archive that. But when you're literally dealing with hundreds, if not thousands a day,
Yeah,
you know, to the point where people were saying you don't have to monitor and maintain, we actually do. We're required by law to
That
keep
makes
every
sense.
one of those comments and to preserve them. And as you know, when they start stacking up and you have to sort of unfold,
yeah, it gets to be a lot.
right? And so to preserve that was really unmanageable,
Yeah.
even with a full staff. And
Seems
now
like
that we
people
don't
were pretty
have,
passionate about this issue, huh?
Yeah, so thank you. I mean, and I
Yeah.
think you brought up one final thing, which is we have not communicated well enough yet.
At
Reasons
all.
behind decisions.
Yeah.
And we're gonna circle back to that. So
Yeah.
hopefully we'll see you here in 2 weeks.
Oh,
I
yeah.
really appreciate that
For
you
sure.
came tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
I wasn't gonna comment on social media, Jean
Name and address,
Sigliano,
thank
Susie Drive, but I will. I'm for social media, however, I recognize, I watched those posts and inaccurate things were being said and town staff had to keep correcting it because it was on the town page.
Right.
And they had to keep correcting the same comments and the letter from, the letter that you all did with the 4th of July committee was there, but people were still saying, we don't understand why, just like this woman did. But the answer was right there and had to keep being restated and restated, which takes a lot of staff time that the town does no longer have.
Repetition of information is probably the number one thing we have to do all the time
And-
for
and-
every topic. It's not just these topics, for every topic. It's just.
So, next one, as your CMRPC rep, I sent you all an email about the governor's newly established commission to review pilot. Since we need money, I just wanted to bring it back up to your attention.
Thank you. It's number 15 under new business. And
Okay,
I
good.
already signed up.
Oh, perfect. Maybe we can get some more money for all the land that they own in our town, but I couldn't find the statistic on how much land it was or how much they pay us. I tried.
We can't
Yeah,
find
but
it.
I'm sure I'm sure it's somewhere. I know I've seen it. I just couldn't find it. As events committee, changing hats.
Okay.
We have a makers market this Saturday and Friday night, we are celebrating the 250th birthday of the signing of the Declaration of Independence with the Army Band and a fashion show preceding it for people who would like to come in colonial attire. Next from the events committee, besides the summer concerts of which we have, I think, 7 or 8 more, we have a new event called the Summer Send-Off on Labor Day weekend on that Saturday, where we wanted to do something to like recognize the summer's over, back to school with some fun activities. We wrote a grant for it. We got a lot less than we asked, but we did get money from the Rutland Cultural Council. And we will be having that event from 1 to 4, I think it is September 5th. And we do have a contract pending with, so you're gonna see a bill, we're gonna need a check ahead of time for inflatables, but not the kind you jump on. The kind that are like carnival games and stuff, just to make it very festive. So just wanted to let you know that. Next topic, meeting space, I see it's on the agenda. I did go to the library board. It seems, from what I can gather, we have always had meetings here without staff. All of a sudden, the new thing is, because the budget was cut, now they wanna have staff here. It does not, it doesn't seem like we're working together. We are all volunteers, we're trying to do the good things for the town, and we're getting shut down on meeting space. We have these 3 rooms, why can't we say the library is the first floor and this is not the library?
Thank you for your comments. Is that it for, thank you.
No answers, huh? Okay.
I can't answer that tonight. No, we can't answer tonight. Is there gonna be
If I may.
grand finale?
I will take 1
No.
degree out of the other 359. Okay, I'm here to say thank you on behalf of the Finnish American Club of Circosta for the lemonade social that was held on Sunday afternoon rather. Pardon me. And it was something that we were very much appreciative of due to the fact that we had been named Grand Marshals of the 4th of July parade, but at any rate, things turned out the way they did. So, okay, so I will toot the horn a little bit and say on excuse me, July 26th, we will have a chicken barbecue. 55th annual chicken barbecue at the Finn Park. And you can call and make a reservation by phone if you want to. 508-723-0447. Leave your name and address and and the number of people that want to come, and they'll be there. And the other thing that I want to promote is something called Coffee with a Finn. Okay, so the town is invited to join us at the Finn Park. Pardon me, on August 25th for a coffee session. Now, what's unique about this is what we jokingly refer to as the Finnish mamas doing all the baking. Okay, so there will be all sorts of Finnish pastries that will be available, and I guarantee you that if you don't find something in there that will satisfy your palate, then I will be very disappointed in the whole thing. But nevertheless, we've been planning this thing now for a year, and we have some very good plans and very good directions in line for it. So we have just the barbecue, and then the coffee with a Finn. And thank you.
Thank you.
Question? What was the phone number again?
Make sure I get it right. 508-723-0447.
And for anyone watching, they do have a website. It's sovitaja.com, SOVITTAJA.
You can also do it that way too, yes.
And what was the date for Coffee with a Finn?
The date for Coffee with a Finn is August 25th.
August, okay.
Thank you very much. All right, anybody else for open session?
Okay.
May I just make,
Yes?
as a member of the board, I would like to extend my thanks and appreciation first to the 4th of July committee. They put on a number of events, the kind of traditional family fun events for the 4th of July, and the Council on Aging put on the pancake breakfast. So there was still a lot of 4th of July events that garnered a lot of, I think, fun. And I appreciate the work that the committee and organizations put in to keep those traditions going. I also want to extend my thanks and appreciation and sorrow for all of our staff. July 1st has happened, and so we have that reduction, and we are seeing a lot fewer friendly, familiar faces around town. And so for me personally, that's hurts and that's sad, and I wish all of our former employees the best of luck in their new endeavors.
Thank you. Good? All right, thank you all. Congratulations to the town of Rutland for getting through this weekend. We heard about a lot of community events that were happening, little mini parades and things, and the things that were happening locally as well, and it looked very different this year. And we will, I'm sure, be talking about it more, but here we are. All right, we're moving on to board and committee appointments. Under number 3, we have the Zoning Board of Appeals to consider the reappointments of 3 people, Jacob Morris, Robert Paulsen, and Elliott Nadeau, Butch Nadeau, and then an appointment of Gary Circosta Gary is not able to make it tonight. It is at the pleasure of the board. If you would like to do only the reappointments, or if you would like to do all of them, as was noted at the last meeting, the ZBA only meets as needed. They do not have any meetings scheduled at this time.
Through the chair,
Yes.
has Gary been on the appeals board a long time?
That's a good question.
Gary's a new appointment.
Gary's the new one.
Oh, he's a new one.
I believe he served on another board or committee, though. The name is very familiar to me, but I can't
I
recall.
think it's on his.
Sorry.
I would say if the zoning board feels that he's considered for their reappointment or appointment process, then just include him.
Yeah, they sent a general letter recommending the reappointment of all three and the appointment of Gary as the alternate member for a one-year term. I don't believe they sent us any other attachments in terms of the letters that were back and forth with them, with the candidates themselves.
I mean, I kind of follow your inclination, Harry.
Thought process.
Yeah, that it's not a contested appointment. There's not a host of applicants that are vying for it. So like I said, I was looking to see if in one of our previous packets the information had been included.
I didn't see it.
But
Is it a one-year alternate appointment?
It is.
Okay.
and I think that's another
I'm
reason
fine
that
with
I'm
yeah.
comfortable with it.
I think the board could also request that any documentation from the candidate could be sent to us just for our records, if you'd like to see it. It's obviously public record with them as well, so.
I would move to appoint the ZBA candidates as presented before us tonight.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Matt's and I.
Oh, aye.
And I,
Second, aye.
And Dib, aye. Thank you very much to the ZBA for coming back and for joining us, Gary. We look forward to meeting you at some point.
and just as a follow-up, I did find his letter of interest. It was
Oh, thank
in our one of our previous, let me see which one, our July or June 22nd, I believe.
It was in
packet,
last week.
I
Okay.
believe.
Shame on us. Thank you. All right, under old business, number 4, just a quick emergency services report, following the 4th of July weekend. And frankly, Heather, if you wanna wait for that until your
Sure.
TA update, we could do it that way?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 5, so we'll circle back to number 4. Number 5, meeting space discussion. We just wanna keep talking about options, and I know this has come up as well during public comment. So the annex has a room ready for people to have small meetings, and they've set up.
It'll be Zoom accessible, hopefully by the end of the week. We've ordered the technology, it's on a cart, so it won't be mounted on a wall, so it'll be mobile if there's a need to, make that available in other spaces as well. But that's one, and we continue to look at other options in other buildings. And I think that we'll work with those department heads to make sure that those, that all of the needs can be met for both the building occupants as well as those who would wanna hold a meeting there. And I think we'll include our cable department in that conversation as well, so that we're getting good quotes, so that I know that keeping the meetings public and live streamed is important for all of us. Sure, we'll wanna make sure that we're doing that in tandem. But for now, we're at least able to open up that annex space with the technology.
We also have kind of old school basement of town hall is smaller than it used to be, but technically is available for a small meeting. I will say it's currently being used by our summer programs through recreation, and so I think during, for the fall, we can look to that space again for, I would say up to 15 people or so can probably go down there. It's not pretty, but it is a room with a roof over it. People can also contact the Rutland Fire Brigade, ask if their building is available. The lower level is ADA accessible, the upper level is still not. And then we'll continue to talk about the community center, and I do, to the point of, brought up in public comment, we need to keep the conversations open with the library trustees as time goes on, just to see what happens, say, after our fall special town meeting or whatever. Quite frankly, as well as the school district. I think it's time to ask them to see if they have any options for us, because they do keep night staff in the buildings for a certain amount of time. So we're gonna have to sort of keep exploring lots of other options. Did anybody have anything else that they thought was an option? Possibility?
Yeah, well, I don't know about an option, but I have been concerned about Jean's comment about the library trustees treating this building as the whole library and not as separate meeting space for the town. And I think that's something this board should take up as a discussion.
Okay, yeah. So I think for that, probably are looking at either a first meeting with us to kind of talk about what we want, or a meeting where we ask the library trustees to join us.
We do have guidance from council on that, so I'll certainly share that
Start there.
ahead of time. It is the trustees' building, and they do have the legal purview to make the decision that they have. But we can certainly review that decision and talk about if there's any points that we can collaborate on with the trustees that might create some room for flexibility there.
Yeah, I'd love to meet with them because I've read the Mass General Law regarding this building being done. And I have some concerns about what it says, so what the attorney's opinion is, I'd be interested in. And I'd be interested in hearing from the trustees and everybody else regarding that.
I was gonna say, I kind of agree if we can have hopefully a cordial conversation with the trustees, just to understand their concerns, to Jean's point as well as many other community members' points, that prior to the May election, this floor was fine to be used for meeting space without staff in attendance. I know that some of the concerns, or I believe some of the concerns, are utility costs incurred for the building, but I'm not 100% sure. So if we can just to better understand their thought process and their concerns, and if we can find ways to.
The trustees have worked on a draft MOA agreement with the town that addresses the utility costs as well as the cable space that we're currently occupying. Without a signed contract back from Charter Spectrum, I've been unable to execute that MOA. But certainly all part of that bigger discussion, and let me get some thoughts together, and if not the next meeting, then certainly the first one in August.
All right, I think that sounds like a good plan moving forward. Anything else on meeting space? Okay. So work in progress here. I think, we have a couple of people here in the audience and certainly probably watching, maybe not watching, maybe they'll watch later, who are on boards and committees and things, and I think the board would really love to hear from them all, whether it's a quick email or whatever. We want to hear about whether you're able to get a Zoom link, about if you had challenges getting meeting space for the date or the time or the place that you initially wanted, because we're gonna need some data here, I think. So to all of the boards and committees, we want to hear from you. I would say as well, even our nonprofits that have been meeting in public spaces, let us know. I think we need to hear about what's happening during this transition time.
And if to follow up on that piece also, as far as the ease of getting meetings posted and minutes posted and everything also, because I know that may be impacted, because I think Tamika was a lot of the point person for that. And so just ensuring that all of and given the reduction in hours of the buildings, is a closed building count as closed time? Because my understanding is that Fridays historically have counted, if you had a Tuesday meeting, you had to post for the Thursday, and on Thursday, and so.
So the town clerk's office is still maintaining office hours on Fridays, so we're posting agendas on Fridays. And communications have gone out to all the boards and committees, detailing that process. how do you get a Zoom link? How do I post an agenda and all of that? So I think we've done a fairly good job of communicating those details, but certainly if there's questions, concerns from boards and committees, I would like to hear about them so we can improve our instruction sheet. I do encourage boards and committees that are used to using this building to look ahead and book your meetings out within those predetermined hours that the library is open and allowing meetings, just so that you aren't left scrambling to have a meeting at the last minute and being disappointed that you can't.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
All right, number 6, so we had a special town meeting. As Mr. Cannacchioli pointed out, we had about a 2/3 vote in favor of the citizens petition. What is the board's feeling at this moment? And I will say right now, we had already heard from the town clerk's office that they weren't thrilled about the idea of doing an election at the same day as the primary. It's not free. It is slightly less money to do it that way. It's also a very large undertaking for them. So it wasn't their first choice, but regardless, it's too late now. So that's off the table. We don't have to talk about it anymore. That doesn't mean any special election is off the table, but that particular date is now off the table.
Thank you.
So, I mean, I'll start, I guess. I have been thinking a lot about this, and I think at the annual town meeting in May, all the budget questions passed by a vast majority, by more than 2 to 1. That was the override budget question. I believe that was Article 4, as well as the article that tied the school budget to the override. I believe that was Article 7. Those passed overwhelmingly by the majority, and then we saw them fail at the ballot. The number at the special town meeting, my understanding didn't include the benefits and a lot of the ancillary costs for the ask of those 3 departments. So that number would have to be inflated just to fund those 3, not inflated, but increased to cover all of the costs of those 3 departments. At town meeting, we also heard a lot from a number of residents that wanted the library to be added in, the senior center to be added in, the and other piece, and now we've had a lot of the building inspector, the building departments to be added back in. So I think that while the public safety DPW ones took the initiative to get that put forward, I personally have heard, and we heard at the special, that people wanted either not that or that plus something else or whatever, almost as a menu. For me, I think that we need to fund all of municipal government, and I would consider a conversation if we needed to look at a school education-based overrides and a municipal override one way. But I'm really struggling now, as we are going to need to be looking towards our fiscal 28 budget to potentially have an override that would fund things for maybe a year as we're starting the conversation, as we're trying to hire out people, hire in people, that we can't guarantee that they're going to have that position in a year as we're starting the budget conversations. So for me personally, I'm still really not at the point that I have confidence with a fall, summer or fall override question. And I think we need to start the work I would say in September, to engage the community at a much better, broader level than we did, and see what the appetite is for the spring, and be realistic as to if an override doesn't pass, what else is going to happen. I think the hope for me personally was that the 3-year override would pass to give us as a community time to do the advocacy at the state that is an uphill battle, but we have residents here who are taking active initiatives in the Chapter 70 work, the pilot work, the UGA, the unrestricted government aid, to try to increase that. MMA has put out notices last fall that this is pretty much all Massachusetts communities are on a fiscal cliff. So it's not new. I think I personally was hoping that we would be able to maintain services for the next 3 years while we do this fight and then move forward with that. So I'm personally not confident that an override would be a fall override would be any better off than where we are right now, given the work that needs to happen.
I think to add on something to that, when you mentioned, yes, the town needs to work on expanding itself and doing things. In other words, there's a lot of open space around town that's not being used. A town planner would be something that could get us started working with the planning board. And I think that these are things that we really have to look at and figure on down the road, so that we are not constantly coming up looking for overrides of the size that we just did look at, okay?
Through the chair. I've had a lot of thought about this. My first thoughts were that I've met the police, the fire, some of the guys who have been let go. I feel for them and their families. I think we tried to do the best job that we could in educating the town why it was necessary. As I have said before, we gave the town a break last year and didn't go for an override. We took the hit that we thought was necessary to the cash account. So I feel terrible that it did not pass. But with that being said, we had several hundred people who said they wanted to put it on the ballot. We did that. Then we had almost a couple of thousand people who said we don't want it. So if you're talking about a town speaking, then the majority of the town spoke. So you had almost 2,000 people who came to vote. So to go back and ask for a second bite at the apple, and I've heard from people in town that they will come out in droves if they ask for it again. They'll get everybody and their brother to come out and vote against this, because they do not believe it is the select board's duty to change the vote of the town of no. They spoke. Now, as a board, we can do whatever we want. We certainly can put it on for a vote. That's not a problem. But I'm feeling that I was elected by the town, and I have to put the town's citizens first. And if they said no, I have to agree with that. As painful as it might be for me, I have to agree with that.
I echo a lot of what Leah said is in regards to not just going for an override for DPW and public safety alone. As expressed at town meeting, the people who stood up to talk about that, I believe the only thing that you mentioned, or that you missed there, was people asking about like the admin staff that was being hours cut and things like that. So I think that unless we went for an all or nothing, to me, I just don't think it's the right thing to do. I somewhat agree with Harry in regards to the town voted on it and the town decided it's not what they wanted. I think where I am a little weary and a little shaky on it all is that it wasn't a very far off vote. I think it was, I don't remember the exact numbers, but I think I saw like 800 to 1,000 or something like that. So you're talking about the difference of 200 votes, which is a very small number in this town. A large number compared to the amount that voted, in fairness, about 10%, right? But the total residents, it's not very high. So that's where I'm not sure. I've been going back and forth on that part of it because, while I think the town voted and the town gave their decision, it was still a pretty close vote. I think that the 2-to-1 aspect on the special town meeting, I think at town meeting, it passed the first time too, by a good amount, so I don't know that there's much of a difference there, in my opinion. I don't know. Unless I'm wrong. If anyone knows the number that the budget got approved at in the first town meeting, not the special.
I might have it in my bag that I live out of.
You mean at the election, at the ballot?
No.
Oh, at the town meeting
town
itself.
meeting
Yeah.
itself. I
So-
mean, it's we've said 2-to-1 for the special town, and I don't recall what it was at the actual town meeting.
So I have for Article 4, which was the general budget, I have written down, so it might be, I may have, yes was 243 and no was 135.
So that's pretty close to the same.
Yeah, it's
I
consistent.
mean, 270 would be 2-to-1, so it's
And
not very
then-
far off. So unfortunately, I mean, that doesn't give me much hope that anything would pass ballot again. I don't think that I'm necessarily against putting it out for a revote in regards to saying to the town that, you said no, we're trying this again, because to me that it's up to the town again to say what they want. So if they wanna come out in droves to vote it down, then that's again on them. So I don't know that that's a huge factor. I just, based on everything, I don't see the vote becoming a yes. Cause I don't see a lot of people's mind changing between the last ballot and now, honestly. I haven't heard of a lot of people suggesting they would vote differently.
I guess from a different perspective, looking at it from the town's perspective, they said no. So I guess I'm kind of reaching here a little bit, saying they said no, and they said no to us to say, hey, work it out. You've been telling us it's gonna really be bad, but you're gonna have to prove it to us now. And now we're gonna come back and say, well, we didn't prove it to you, but we still want more money. And that kind of throws me off a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't disagree with you at all. I think you have the right. I think I agree with you. I just, in my mind, the override is still the right thing to do. So for me to say, well, I'm going back to do it again because I think it's the right thing to do, I don't think I'm doing anything wrong because I think it's the right thing. And obviously, two of you would have to agree with me, right? So it's not necessarily just up to me, of course.
And the other thing is, if we do an override, say in September, whenever, come May again, that's only a short time away where we're gonna be asking for another override. And this one is gonna be more important next year than this one is.
And I think that's where I'm coming from, is that if we're not, if we are literally just looking to do something in the fall that's a tiny Band-Aid on a giant hole to get us through till May, while we are starting to have these budget conversations, because realistically, the earliest we could have the election now would be the end of September, I think.
Yeah.
October, that's when we need to start talking about the fiscal year 28 budget, and seeing the amount of heartache and expenses that went into the reduction in staff this time around, to hire people back to then have to do that same thing again and potentially do that same thing again in the spring, seems very irresponsible. As fiscally as well as personally to our employees and our residents, because ultimately our residents, I think, suffer from that side of things also. That's me personally.
So what I'm not hearing,
Oh.
What?
We did take a vote on, this is sort of back to Lou's question, but also somewhat related to what we're talking about right now. We did take a vote on, going for another override, but also using free cash to cover the expenses until the override could take effect.
right, that
So
was
that's-
my Hail Mary.
But that's sort of related
Well,
to.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's
I-
over and done with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just clarifying, cause I was
Fair
like, we
enough.
took a motion, something,
Yeah,
or a vote,
Yeah.
But I feel like, partially where, apologies, my mind was thinking of the override for just this year, and in my mind, or not my mind, literally it's already happened, right? We've already let these people go. For us to try to do an override for this year, at this point, to me, it would take time to hire those people back, it would, it's, and then are we not gonna have an override the next year? And if that fails now, do we have to let some of those people go? I don't know, it's messy.
Can I just throw something out though? As we all we keep noting this, the resident petition was non-binding. I cannot fathom, I mean, and we're hearing very clearly, I'm hearing very clearly from all four of you that there's no appetite to do this fall, which is fine. That said, if we were gonna do this fall, I can't imagine we would do it as the Band-Aid.
Yeah.
We would simply go for it again, whatever that number is, whatever this board decided that, but it wouldn't be, okay, let's do a little one in November and then a big one in May.
It definitely wouldn't be 1.2, it would have to be the whole thing.
It would have to be, okay.
We'd have to go right back to where we were, basically.
But that said, I'm hearing
Well,
that this fall does not feel like the right time. And that's what I just heard from all of you. So I just wanna ask a follow-up question, which is it appropriate, I think it might be appropriate, to say, well, we don't think this fall is the right time. We are hearing from residents who are still sort of recovering from this spring and this summer, and it would possibly just fail spectacularly, whatever the reasons are. But are we also, and this is a board that was committed to going for the override last year, I don't see a value in sitting around at any point and saying, we're not going to try again. We will not be in a better place come January or February or May, we will only be in a worse place. So it's fine to say we're not doing it this fall, but are we also committing to say, we're not gonna do it this fall, but guess what? We're going to have to take notes and listen to what was said to us and try again. Because frankly, even in these past 2 weeks, we just had 3 new inspectors walk in the door today. The one inspector already spent 9 hours here. We had emergency calls last week because we didn't have inspectors on site. What I don't personally want, and it's a bit to Harry's point, is the prove it. I don't want an emergency and a tragedy to prove to people that we actually do need more police and we actually do need more fire and that our public safety staff is gonna get completely burnt out. So that proof is what I'm hoping to avoid, quite frankly. I don't want us to have to learn a hard lesson. I want us to just figure out how to do the right thing. To Mr. Dvarekis's point, of course, we need to do the big ticket items. They're not gonna help us. They're not gonna help us this September, and quite frankly, they're not gonna be in time for May either. They're not. So, I heard all of you. It's sounding like we were there at the meeting. We saw the 2/3. To the point of the people who are saying, this is who came to the meeting, the vote was taken and it wasn't that many people. It was a good turnout for one of our meetings. And frankly, regardless of that, whether we get 60 people or 900, and we've had both, whoever shows up gets to make those decisions. And we've tried to convey that to people over and over. And it's the same at the ballot. Whoever shows up gets to make those decisions. And we know for sure that more people make it to the ballot than to the meetings. For various reasons, that's okay too. Those numbers don't always correspond, sometimes they do. But yeah, I think we didn't necessarily have, to perhaps Harry's point, we didn't have 1,000 people at the meeting, did we? We didn't have this overwhelming message sent to this board. It was, I don't know. I don't think we did.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
Madam Chair,
I'm gonna give you
please.
1 minute.
I'll take less than that. It's so easy to just show up the ballot box and vote no. You don't come and listen to the discussion. And that's the mindset. That's the worst thing about 2.5, that you have to have these overrides. And please, split the overrides. If you're gonna have a school one, keep it separate. Keep it separate. In my opinion, and I'll end with this, what caused the override to fail was at the annual town meeting, tying education to the override. That's where the 200 votes came to put it over to the no vote. Despicable what the finance board did that night.
All right, but anyway, thank you. So I guess what I'm asking the board now is that I want to confirm, I think I've heard you, that this board does not have the appetite to do an election this fall for an override. And I think I am asking this board whether they're ready to say now that we have to just start planning again. And somebody said this to me once, and I'm sorry, it's cheesy, but it was, when you get people involved early, they're your partners, and when you get them involved late, they're your judge. And I think the earlier we are able to make this decision and make adjustments, and, to what Mr. Cannacchioli said, maybe it looks different, maybe the override is structured differently. I don't know what the answer is, but when are we starting? Are we starting?
Through the chair, the one overriding factor that still goes through my mind is next year, 2028, we are going to have a very serious problem.
Yep.
Bigger than this one.
Yep.
And if we try to pass 2 budgets within 6 months, we are not gonna do it. So we have a choice. Either we go for all on this one and we fail in 2028. Because that's gonna be fresh in their minds. They will have gotten their new tax bills. They're gonna see what their rates are on their house. I don't wanna see that happen. I want to have it passed next year. This is kind of water over the dam. We may have to live with this. We'll have to figure other things out. But to try to put up another $3 million, $2 million now, and then ask for $4 million a couple of months from now, because that's basic, I think, what we're gonna be close to.
But are you saying?
I don't wanna see any override this year, whether it's
No,
now or
but
spring.
that's my question. I wanna know if we are all on the same page, that we are already talking, it's July 6th, about the plan for next year's override.
Yeah,
It
next.
doesn't have to wait till October, nothing's gonna,
So I am of that mindset. I think we don't do anything, we don't have a ballot in the fall. But our next spring election in May, we have an override. Or multiple override questions, whether it's, and that's for at minimum, the fiscal year 28 budget. I personally would like to see something beyond the 1 year, so we're not in this cycle, but the number just keeps growing. And so we need to balance the number with that, but I don't know how, and I think we need to start having those conversations now-ish, that this is happening, and this is what it's going to cost, and this is what you're going to get. We as a community are going to get. I don't wanna point finger, right? It's like we as a community, it's not us personally as board members, but it's as the town is going to get.
Oh.
Agreeing with what's been said pretty much so far. In addition, I've seen more select board meetings than I have fingers and toes to count on, because I was behind the camera videoing these things, and I've seen, what's been said and what's been done, what's been proposed, and so on and so forth. Okay, in the beginning, well, going back a ways anyways, the override was a simple item, okay? Over the years, it has compounded itself to the point of where it is now, and so we have to really look into what we're trying to accomplish and where we're trying to go if we're going to do another override. In other words, people are overridden with overrides.
yeah, and I mean, we do see the comments, whether they were on our pages or not, we see the comments, and we see the comments from people in particular who say, I didn't wanna have to do this, and yet I didn't have the money to pay the bill. And so I think starting as early as we're starting, literally 6 days into this fiscal year, we're gonna have an opportunity to bring people in as partners even more. It's time to do listening sessions and not just information sessions, which of course, I know you always took questions at the information sessions, but you know what I mean? We're gonna need,
Yeah, this is not a slight to you at all.
Oh,
No, of course not.
I don't take it as a slight.
we're gonna need to get feedback. What does, and somebody just, right, as Lou just said, we should have menu options. It's not the first time we've heard it. Some people want 18 different menu options they can pick. Nope, I don't wanna fund the library. Yes, I wanna fund public safety. Maybe that's the way to go. Maybe it's not. I don't know, but I think we have to ask and give and hear, right, listen to the people and let them know that we've heard them and that we've made adjustments and that we've made corrections and that we've addressed as best we could their concerns, that we heard them this year. Because Harry, you said it would feel like we don't care. We saw how you voted, we don't care, we're gonna do this anyway. And I hope nobody would ever take it that way. It was, we saw how you voted, we saw how this ended, and we have to make some corrections.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
To the chair, I was just gonna acknowledge you and just agree with you on that.
Okay.
I think that if
Then you can
you
go ahead.
put
No,
these
it's okay.
options, no, I'm just saying, if you put all these options to the people and they know and they see what is on the table and what you're trying to do, I think you got a better chance in May for an override for the people.
May I suggest, look at Worcester 1991. Worcester 1991.
Okay.
7 override questions.
Mm.
7 override questions with 5, 6 of them municipal government, 1 of them education. 7 overrides, so
Thank you.
people had the choice.
Thank you.
Yep.
Well recognized, but thank you. All right, so I don't necessarily need a vote tonight. I am happy to take one if you would like to make a motion that the board is electing to not hold an override during the fall. An early override during
Midterm.
midterm override, oh my god, it's a terrible term.
Um,
But I don't need that, we're not taking any action, it's entirely up to you, you can do it if you want it to be official, it would be in the minutes that we have just officially decided not to do it, but.
Well, I guess the way it was phrased is we've decided not to do anything in the fall.
Correct.
My opinion is we decide not to do anything in 2027 at all. No overrides in 27.
Well, when
We
you say,
wait for 28.
well, you're talking about fiscal 28 though, so just to be
Fiscal 28.
clear, that election will occur in fiscal 27.
I
Just so
know.
we're clear.
I know,
Okay.
but what I'm saying is,
No, I know you
we
know, I'm
don't
just
want
for the people.
2 elections in 27.
Right, no,
Okay.
okay,
Yeah, okay, 20,
we're looking to the spring, we're
The
looking
FY
to your,
'27 budget stands.
the FY 27 budget stands.
Right.
Okay. Okay. I guess I'm gonna just preemptively say that FY 28 override will now be on the agenda every single meeting.
Yeah.
We can't stop talking about this. We have to keep biting away at it. You know,
And I guess,
I'm
no,
making
no,
her-
no, 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 and I,
making Heather like push her
no,
hair.
it's okay, but I'm absolutely, happy to have it on the agenda every meeting. However, I'm gonna need, you ask what I need.
Yep.
I need to know what it is specific that you wanna be talking about at every meeting. Because just simply stating that we need an override is not going to further our cause. It's going to, eventually people will tune out. Because we're just repeating the same thing. So I
Sure.
guess if there's feedback or questions that you all have that you wanna be prepared to talk about at each meeting, I think that would be productive.
I think at our next meeting, we should talk about putting out a survey.
Okay.
And we'll figure out what questions need to be on it to get a sense of where people are
Okay.
now that the holiday's over, fiscal year has begun, we've lost staff. Let's see where people are.
I would not have thought that putting out a survey would do us any good. But one thing it does do, it gets buy-in.
Yeah.
You now, as a citizen of this town, have to decide how you wanna spend your money.
Yep.
Do you want a library? Do you want recreation? Do you want, comments? Do you want events? What do you want? Where are we gonna spend our money?
Yeah.
Put, not just leave it up to us and then them say no. I think we need to get some buy-in.
Right.
I have to agree that I think also that the possibility of multiple override questions does bear some fruit, and we can probably look into that too.
Sorry, repeat what you just, what?
In other words, okay, Mr. Canacchioli mentioned that the city of Worcester had 7 override questions.
Yep,
Not looking into that many, but
okay,
it's possibility that we could probably
thank you.
accomplish a little bit more doing something like that.
Okay, thank you, I just wanted to make sure I wrote that down the right way. All right, thank you. Thank you all for that, I know it doesn't sound like it's progress, but it feels like progress somehow. I'm gonna move on to number 7, town line welcome signs. So that document in your packet has not seen any changes. I think I just need to hear from the board if, and again, this was work that was done by the previous board, it was then, I think, reviewed at the time and kind of tweaked maybe a little bit by the Economic Development Council, Commission. Again, we know we're way over the timeline for these. We had a quick note today that the sign that you see as you're entering from Ocam, the one that says Rutland residents, is going to be taken down for restoration. So people don't worry about that sign is being restored, and obviously, based on our locations and fees, you can do whatever you want with these. We can change the fees, leave the fees, we could take that one sign out of the fees since it's not really advertising anything, it's just a town sign for our residents. And then we need to talk about whether we're giving right of first refusal to the existing people or just opening it back up again for first come, first serve. What do you like? What's your pleasure?
I feel that it's a service to the businesses in this town or anybody else that wants to buy one. But because it is a multi-year contract, I don't think there should be discounts given. So I like the fees that we have here.
Okay.
Okay, I'm okay with those. If you're a business and you wanna do it, great. If you don't, if $50 is gonna bother you about buying a sign, then don't buy a sign.
Okay.
As far as first come, first serve, that's something I've tried to think about for a while because it's a two-edged sword. If I have a sign and I've had it for 3 years and now we go open again, do I get first choice of refusal? And if I do I keep the best sign, which is the one I wanted, which somebody else may want? So I'm conflicted there. I would like to see a lottery, so to speak. If you want the best sign, we put your name in it. If we pick it, it's yours. If not, it's not. We don't try to pick somebody favorably and say, oh, well, you had this for 3 years, so you get to keep it. You're a business. We know what business is like. I ran a business for 30 years. I took my chances, paid my dues. So that's the same thing here. We're not gonna show any favoritism to any particular business who wants to buy a sign. So I guess those are my basic 2 comments.
All right, so right now we have 9 locations, 3 price points, $12.50 on those big locations, $1,000 and then $750. So basically, we would take applications, you would choose which level you want, and you would join the lottery.
If we have 3 prime locations and only 3 people that want it, we don't need a lottery. Other than that, I would think you would join a lottery.
I know 2 people interested at this moment, yes.
Okay.
Okay?
I was gonna say, I agree with Harry not doing it as a, like a grandfathered in, because I think part of the opportunity should be to provide all of the Rutland-based businesses a semi-fair opportunity to have a chance at a spot, and not just because they were able to get that spot first, maintain that spot. Obviously, we have the very varying costs, which I'm comfortable with, so if people are comfortable, if the business is comfortable paying the $12.50, but might wanna be considered at the $7.50, they can put could put an application in both. If they got their $12.50 spot and that's what they want, then they take it and it opens up another spot.
Yep.
And I think it's in here that they're Rutland-based businesses. I think that we very much want to promote it as the Rutland community businesses and not businesses outside of, that are based outside of Rutland.
Okay? Okay.
Did the original time we did this have any sort of timeline agreement to it?
5 years.
And that 5 years obviously.
It's been 7.5.
Yeah.
I can't,
Well, there are people hanging other signs on our signs,
which is,
as experienced down on Route 68.
I don't understand why that sign's not down. It was put up illegally, they didn't get permission, this is not, okay.
Anyway, yeah, so I think I agree with the direction that we're currently discussing. Yeah.
So as the current policy stands right now, it actually says if more than 9 applicants come, that we would go to lottery, but we're gonna start with the lottery. All applications will enter the lottery system, they will choose what level they like, and it becomes fair that way.
No, I meant lottery per.
Yeah.
Like the
Per level.
the $12.50
Right.
would have a lottery, the
Right.
1,000 would have a lottery.
Okay, right, and that's
Oh,
not
okay.
quite how it reads right now. Right now it
Okay.
says more than 9 applications, then we'll go to a lottery for the
Oh.
whole thing.
No,
We're just gonna
What do
start lottery.
What do we do if nobody wants a $12.50?
I think the $12.50 are the ones that everybody wants,
I
to be
think
honest.
there'll
They're
be people
wildly
biting at it
under-
to get the $12.50.
Wildly undercharging.
Where do you buy that kind of advertising for 5 years?
So just for reference, in case people are, I don't know if you have access to this, so this is a 2-year period now, so this is, in terms of the money, it's actually much closer to where it probably should have been, so it's 2 years, it's definitely the best deal in town. And that does not include the cost of a sign, so they are going to buy their own sign and we will give them the parameters for it so that it looks the same size and all that. I don't see the part about Rutland specific, but I agree with you, we should add it. If you see it, let me know. And then my last question, I had a question. Are we okay with having Heather move forward with getting together the actual, I mean, this, basically just tweaking this application to reflect the lottery with your preferred signs, et cetera.
Heather,
Yes.
have we ever figured out the fund for the money?
Oh, that was my question.
Not that I know you have a lot on your plate, so I'm just
No.
asking if going
I
forward.
have not.
Okay.
What we have established is that it's a special revenue fund. Those funds are held obviously separate from all other town funds in its own account. What the balance of that account is, I don't know,
It's okay.
but I will find out. Sorry.
And that money can only be used for that?
It can only be used for that, just like any of our other special revenue funds, that when those funds are received by the town, they are unique and special for that particular fund.
So if there's money there, it just rolls over?
Exactly.
Okay. Okay.
The only other thing we could add, it is referenced here under number 2, is it could either be part of the cost or even another business, which is landscaping at the base of the sign.
And
So
that,
there's a lot of communities that do islands that are sponsored.
and that was some of the conversation EDC was working
Right.
on when they were gonna take it, was
Right.
instead of having the cost go, cause they were going
Yeah.
to basically try to have all of that piece done by local businesses, so with some, you know,
Yeah.
like a little plaque advertising that they did the up or whatever, or
Yep.
even just, but that then, because they were hoping to be able to use the money for the micro grants for
Yeah.
businesses and stuff, which I don't think we can do.
Well, no, we definitely can. And I mean, we can probably start here and then if we have you know, to Harry's point, 30 applications, maybe we do go to sponsor an island,
Right.
which we have some really visible islands that are just
Right. And-
grass that has to be mowed right now, so.
And right now, some of the families, I know some of the islands, families have been taken care of, and they're just getting to the point that they're.
Right, it's
I
a
mean,
lot.
It's a
Okay.
lot, so.
Yeah, well, we have questions from the audience about the signs. Yes, name and address.
Carol Benoit, Turkey Hill Road. Is the $12.50, that's per year, correct?
No,
2-year period.
Alright, so just a quick Google search, it's the high end, but $1,500 per year is the typical for signs.
Yeah, this is very true.
So, and
We're
this is
generous.
marketing, this isn't just helping the town, right? And we're in a financial crunch, so I would, even if you wanted to lower it to $1,000 per year, but I think per year.
But to the point, these aren't revenues that we're going to then be able to parlay back into the general fund, so.
There's no way to do that?
Well,
A lot of the pushback not pushback, a lot of the commentary when this was before the board originally and working with EDC was that the businesses very much wanted to know where the money was going and that it wasn't going into the general fund to then be spent however. They wanted it to be, because they felt that they wanted to, if they're putting their names on the signs, they wanted to make sure that the signs were maintained to be
right.
professional looking and well taken care, well kept. And so that's,
If you don't mind, maybe going through Holden and all of their beautiful baskets now that they've got flowers, and I know that's beautiful Holden or Holden Beautiful or something,
Yeah.
but I'm wondering something, and I know that's done by citizens, but I'm wondering if a fund like this could be used for the islands, for things hanging from poles.
I think there is potential for a revolving fund for
Yeah.
sort of like a Rutland beautification.
Correct.
So just so people are all aware, the original process, which Mike Nicholson did, was that the value he assigned to each of those signs was going to cover the cost of the carved Rutland signs. And by purchasing that carved Rutland sign, you were getting in exchange the ability to advertise your business or your whatever organization underneath for a period of 5 years. So that's where that started. It was best deal in town even then. And so now I totally see your point. But that's where those numbers came from initially, and I think it's why we're not probably in line with the other communities that are doing it now. And we know some communities are refusing to do it, they want their signs to be unadorned, and that's fine too, we're not there.
And they're wooden signs, so
Yeah.
you're gonna have to start
Yep.
beefing up the
Yep.
money
Yeah.
to replace them.
Right.
And just to add on to the lottery, love it. I'm wondering if you could say my first choice is, my second choice is, my third choice is, that might,
Yeah.
little going back and forth.
Yep, and that's already there now, but we'll just make it clearer now that we're starting from a lottery, we're not going halfway, yes.
I'm
Name-
just curious, the
name and
signs sorry, Nancy Nichols, 5 Lizzie Lane. Do the signs currently do they all need to be replaced, and would this 1,200 also cover the cost of a new one, or no?
No, so bear in mind, we are not talking about the carved Rutland signs. We are only talking about the 5x1 sponsorship signs that are underneath.
Right,
The $12.50 goes to the town, and the person who receives that sign location can do whatever they want. If they have an existing sign they're happy with, they can leave it. If they need to go buy a new one, we're gonna give them the parameters, they're gonna go get that done.
Okay.
And as we just said, the organization, the Friends of Rutland, that have the one as you're coming in from Ocam. Yep, thank you. They have taken theirs down and they're getting it restored, which is fine. And we should have a quick conversation about whether we're charging them again too, so.
And some of that could go towards maintenance, cause eventually the signs will need to be
yeah,
replaced.
well, for the number of years and the care it's gonna take, cause it hasn't been there in the past years. So we need to upgrade that, and I think a lot of this money will be used for it.
Okay, so based on what we just heard, is everybody leaving the pricing? Are we still happy?
I think
Okay with it.
I'm comfortable only because I think a lot of our Rutland small businesses
Yeah.
donate to the community in many other ways in addition to this, and I don't want to price them out
Okay.
from this opportunity when they do a lot more for the community as a whole.
Okay. And are we taking the Friends sign out of this equation, or they will also have to join the lottery?
Do we know who did it?
Yeah.
Who did the French sign?
Chuck?
Is that in one of the most desirable, is that?
I
No,
think I thought it was one of the most because it was one of the main ones.
it's the 1,000, it's the middle line.
So they took it upon themselves recently to,
I don't, did they pay for it? I
They
don't-
did.
They did.
They purchased a Rutland sign, and instead of a business advertising, it just put, what is
Friends
it?
of Rutland,
It
I
just says
think.
from the Friends of Rutland. Yeah.
Boy, I would hate to, we're trying to be across the board here for everybody and be fair, so I would hate to just say, go ahead, keep that.
Okay.
You know, I guess from a business standpoint, I have a problem with that, but it's a viable sign somebody could be using
Okay.
and paying for it.
All right, so nobody's exempt. All the signs and go into the lottery. Yeah? With the pricing that was here. And we make that one change, that lottery is immediate, and you put your choices down. Okay.
And I think because this is every 2 years now, the hope is that the lottery would be, if you don't get your prime place in 2
Yeah.
years, you have an opportunity to try again. And
Yeah.
in some ways, that's gonna give the businesses some
Some
very,
rotation.
very visibility also, potentially.
Yeah. All right. That was sort of all administrative. Heather, what do you think? Do you want a motion for any of that to move forward?
And
No.
sorry, I didn't see anywhere that it said specifically Rutland-based businesses. I just
didn't
see at the
either.
very top in the blue, sponsorship signs are available for purchase by local businesses and
Right.
organizations, which I would just say Rutland-based businesses and organizations or something
Yeah.
along those lines.
Okay.
I don't, no?
Well, I mean, bear in mind, Gibbs Realty currently holds 2 or 3. Technically, I think their
yeah.
mailing address isn't Holden.
I think
Right.
maybe first priority to Rutland based,
And-
maybe?
Yeah.
Cause that way if we don't get 9, I think it's 9, right, 9 total
I
of
would,
Rutland
yeah.
based, then you're opening it up to
Okay.
a greater.
Maybe we keep it as
Yeah,
local
I
and
don't,
I don't.
as long as
I-
there's no compete, it would be like a compete clause.
I mean, not to change this entire conversation, but what about just like a bidding,
That's,
A what?
a bidding? I mean,
We're gonna auction off this sign and here we go.
I mean, isn't that capitalism at its best?
Absolutely.
It's definitely capitalism.
You know what,
And this is a reserve.
I think that's a great idea, Alex, but I'm concerned that we're making a real dramatic change here when we have businesses that we already know will pay for this and want signs.
Yeah.
Make them go into a bidding war. I think that's a great possibility for the future if we let them know.
Yeah,
And we could do something special and try that, actually.
could do it for one.
We could try, well, let's leave the signs alone, but I think we should come up with a new one for you. It's a fair idea.
So maybe we do just keep it as local because there are a lot of Rutland residents who have
Right.
businesses locally that aren't necessarily in, I don't know,
Yeah, it's kind of a gray area.
I don't know.
I mean, I think leaving a gray area open to interpretation is not the best idea. I think we should try to close as many gray areas as possible.
So maybe it is priority to.
How about Rutland residents? Regardless of their business, they are Rutland residents.
But
Yeah,
then you
there's
have
a lot
some
of
people who
businesses-
own a business in town that is not a resident.
Yeah, there's a number.
Okay.
So how about, I mean, we could just combine it, right, and say Rutland resident or
There you go.
Rutland business.
Right.
Would that cover
And
everything?
again, say
Okay.
we will give priority to Rutland residents and Rutland businesses.
Yeah, the
Rutland
first
based
lottery,
businesses.
Right, I'd rather, first preference to Rutland business, second preference to residents. Because the reason we did this was for business notoriety in town. So I'm sure we're not gonna get every business buying a sign.
We don't have that many businesses anyway.
Huh?
We don't have that many businesses anyway, right?
Well,
a
I
lot,
think,
actually.
yeah, we have a
There's
lot,
a
but
lot.
I think there's some that don't feel the need to do this. You know, word of mouth, I don't need a sign.
okay.
So where are we at?
I think we are at full lottery, Rutland, you have to be either a Rutland business or resident. Harry would like it to be more business. I
Priority
think
to business?
priority, I think I would push back and say, what if it's a nonprofit, what if it's a community group, what if it's a neighborhood? I don't wanna not give them,
Whoa, wait. Well, with that, so if it's a Rutland business or nonprofit,
well, we didn't say that, we said Rutland business or
well, a
resident.
nonprofit is a
Right,
business.
nonprofit
Fair enough,
still is
but you know,
business.
I guess that's not how I was taking it.
Okay.
Okay.
Rutland-based organization. You want that? Does that work better for
I
you?
just wanna know, are we get, like, if a group of, this is exactly how we ended up with the sign at the OCAM line, right? If a group of residents get together and want a sign, are we not counting them in the same way we would count a business?
So I think that the priority to the businesses is absolutely the appropriate way to go.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, cause I think it's right to say this is meant to be a business thing, it's meant to be advertising to help Rutland businesses advertise.
Alright. Okay.
I think that should be the priority.
Could it be even just by local businesses and organizations with priority given to Rutland-based businesses or something? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's where we're headed. Alright.
This is why this is still not done after.
No, we're doing
2
this.
years.
This is, alright. So we're giving priority to Rutland businesses, we're good on the dollar totals, and we're all lottery. Does anybody feel a desperate need to make a motion? Are we good with the administrative changes?
I would make a motion to approve with the administrative changes as presented with the administrative changes discussed.
That sounds good. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote aye.
But then
Second aye.
Goodbye. Progress made on town signs. Unlike number 8, the Communications Advisory Committee, which I sort of committed to do a little bit of homework on, and I was still talking to some people and I don't have it ready for you, so we're going to skip it tonight. I know you're very upset.
Shucks.
Yeah. Number 9, so we have a select board goals document that Heather did some really good work on. Was everybody happy with the way that landed? So that is in your SharePoint or printed for you with the 5 major headings: regional collaboration and advocacy, financial sustainability and stewardship, public engagement and transparency, workforce strategy and policy, and infrastructure and capital. Obviously, those are huge. Under each, we have some goals with some outcomes. I'm not gonna read them all to you.
Thank God.
I know. I know. And if everyone is happy with this, Heather is going to take this and start kind of actualizing it and give us guidance on what we need to tell her to do.
The way that the document is structured, it does provide some interim goal spaces as well as outcome objectives. So if the board has any suggestions for filling those items in,
Yep.
or we can merge cells and it just remains the goal. So however you wanna, we don't wanna make it more complicated than it needs to be, so I can merge cell unless you wanna add those details.
I would leave it as is, I think it's a very good
Yeah, and I think some of the
format,
goals,
and
right.
I think it's well done.
Attainable goals.
Well, I was gonna say, I think some of the goals are definitely have short-term things that can be attained very quickly, and the long-term outcome is maybe not even this year, this board's long-term outcome, but
So if we could put a pin in this, it would be good for us to be able to review this, I guess in March, as we're coming up to town meeting, to say how well have we done here?
I even think we kinda come back to it quarterly.
Yeah.
And just
Yeah.
provide updates on our goals. I think if we let it even go 6 months, we have the tendency to maybe push it off
Okay.
too far.
Quarterly
think-
sounds good.
as part of our advocacy for an override is to hold ourselves accountable to this and show the community that we are, because a lot of this is some of the longer term trying to make advocacy changes at the state level, or doing advocacy to make changes at the state level and more, so.
Right, and to show that whether or not we've made progress and at least what we've tried to do, for sure. Alright, could I get, now again, this is a living document, we can obviously edit it, make changes, it's for us. We can absolutely take suggestions as well, so once this is approved, we can post it,
Add it to the website.
add it to the website, people can take a look at it, they can comment, they can do whatever they would like, not on Facebook, but anywhere else. Could I get a motion?
I move to approve the fiscal year 27 select board and town administration goals for the town of Rutland as presented.
Second.
Any more discussion? Everybody was relatively happy? Great. I think it looks great, Heather. Thank you so much. All in favor?
That's a night.
Vote aye.
Women on.
Second I.
And Dubai, thank you. Number 10 is quick. It's regional trash service. And we added this because we saw, again, we do watch social media. We saw the conversations that we have just lost a well-known and liked local service provider. And it was sold to Casella, who many people have been a little bit unhappy with. We want everybody to know here tonight that trash is absolutely not under the select board's purview. It is a Board of Health situation, an issue. I did reach out to the Board of Health chair. An enormous amount of work was done probably a year or so ago that involved previous town administrators from multiple towns to try to regionalize some of this service and to talk again, and it's quite frankly a topic that's been discussed for probably a quarter century now, about municipal trash service. To the point of somebody in the room tonight, might have been you, Mike, this is something that would have to self-pay. So some communities have municipal trash under the levy. That would not be an option here. We would probably end up doing, I think Heather, you were saying not enterprise? No, revolving. Or no, we would do a regionalized program. But anyway, look, we're not getting into that tonight.
We're not getting into that
Of course
tonight.
not. Heather has quite a bit of experience with this because she's coming from a similar transition that happened in West Boylston. So we're very lucky to have her on this. In any case, I did reach out to the chair of the Board of Health, and it would be, I think, nice to know if this board is willing to collaborate with the Board of Health on whatever they need relative to possibly looking at this again and reopening that conversation. It might mean a joint meeting with them at some point. Again, this is all them.
I absolutely am open to it and I'm all for it. I thought in the over the winter or early spring, we had someone from, I believe it was DCR or someone.
DEP, Irene Cogden,
Yes,
who is
yes,
your
thank
DEP rep, she came out and provided an update. There was an RFQ that was issued. It was never awarded, simply because it came at a time when all three communities were in transition. I think it's safe to say that document is now null and void. So we would be starting from scratch with that. But I think one of the issues that will come up, and Sheila, I'll just say this quickly, is that we want to make sure that if Rutland is going to take the lead in this, that we're very considerate of staffing capacity and what that means. Even if we do a third-party billing system, those funds still have to come through and be accounted for by our town finance staff. So I just want to be mindful of that as we progress with this conversation.
And I know, my understanding is one of the other three communities was happy to take the lead, but I understand that community also has had a whole lot of turnover and transition. So that may not be the case anymore, and I believe Rutland is the largest community by a substantial amount of the three, so in that respect, it would make sense that it's Rutland, but I know that was a concern even before the fiscal year 27 budget was realized.
On paper, it absolutely makes sense that Rutland is the lead community, and I think that was the assumption all along until we found ourselves in this circumstance. So absolutely, let's continue the conversation. I know trash is a big deal. It's going to only become a larger topic of conversation as those tipping fees go up and up. So.
We know another company has stepped into the breach a little bit, Lawrence Waste Services, and I'm not making a plug or anything. They are not local. I just want people who are making decisions to keep that in mind. They are getting larger, but they are from Medway, so their trucks are gonna be traveling quite a distance to get to us. So I think, for everybody that's making those considerations, in the absence of municipal trash service at the moment, just kind of keep that in mind. This is a tough business.
Have they been licensed through the Board of Health yet?
They have not yet.
Okay.
No.
Just as a fact, some people I know on the street were approached by another organization out of Holden to see if they could get a foothold in here. I don't know what's going on, but that's another avenue.
Well, Casella has the Holden contract.
No, this is an independent.
Oh dear, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, all trash providers have to be licensed by your Board of Health.
Yep.
And their list is available on the website, so if you have any questions, refer to the website before making any deals.
Don't make any deals.
Was the transition or the purchase from one carrier, one trash hauler to the next overseen by the health department, or that was?
It would have to go through the Board of Health, yes.
Okay. No, I mean, the one that it's already been done, was that overseen?
Well,
No, the
If it-
sale, I don't think.
well,
But
But
the
the-
Casella was already licensed in Rutland.
right,
It was
right.
already
But
licensed in Rutland.
I just think that the paperwork has to be updated,
Yeah, maybe.
that's all, just like when you do a liquor license. If the liquor license
Yeah.
transfers from one ownership to the other, the paperwork has to be managed through the proper licensing department.
Fair enough, thank you. All right. Number 11, we have two transfer requests tonight. One is to transfer $3,616.82 to Council on Aging, other charges to pay for, it's not really to pay, it's to give a donation as requested to Elder Services of Worcester to support the Meals on Wheels program. So this is not, just for the record, it's not a requirement, it's not a bill that we owe. Nancy is here tonight and can speak to it. Obviously, we have quite a few people here who take advantage, who are able to take advantage of Meals on Wheels, and so this is very similar to the small donations that we make to Wachusett Greenways, Wachusett Earth Day. I think it's in that same kind of wheelhouse. I don't know that we've done it every year. Heather said no, I don't remember the last time we have. You are welcome to speak to it if you would like, otherwise we're just gonna.
We used to do it when I first started 12 years ago, and the previous director used to put it as a line item, so she paid it every year.
Okay.
Then just as budget cuts progressed, that was taken out. So what I have done over the last several years is give what I can. So some
Okay.
years it might have been several hundred, some years it might have been, 1,500 or 2,000. This year, because I had extra because I had that shortage of outreach, that vacancy, and only used a little bit of temporary help, about over $10,000 is going back into the general fund. That's why I wanted to take this amount and at least be able to donate it as we used to. It supports the program. Not every town has a kitchen site manager. We do. They don't have to send us one, but it's nice to support that program. With the number of meals, it's less than 50 cents a meal we're talking about. So I just think it would be a nice gesture to be able to do that again. Again, yes, we don't have to do it every year, but it's a nice support.
Can I ask you why the amount requested is slightly different than the amount we're giving?
Because I did have some left over in the other charges of a line item.
Oh, okay. So you're actually giving them the whole amount that they asked for?
Yeah, it's only like
Okay.
$72
Yep,
or something, but
Okay,
yes.
that's why.
And there is also a mistake on that. I didn't have a printer at home and I forgot to bring it home, but it does say fiscal 27, it should be fiscal 26. I corrected that and they sent me a new form, which I did send Heather. A new bill, a new invoice. See how it looks confusing? It says fiscal 27, but it shows the year for fiscal 26 meals.
Oh.
Just so you know that has been corrected.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I mean, if we have the money this year to do it, I support it. I am a huge advocate for Wachusett Greenways, for the Wachusett Earth Day. I think we should be able to support these organizations that are providing substantial services at a very reduced, in many cases, no fee to our community members, so I fully support it.
Agreed.
Okay.
So I would make a motion to approve the Rutland Council on Aging transfer request as presented for the Meals on Wheels.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Would I?
Second, aye.
Did I? Great, thank you. Our second transfer is for dispatch wages. It's coming again out of that health insurance line item, and the amount requested is $20,000.
I believe Nick provided you with a summary that explained why there is additional funds still available in that health insurance line. But for
Yep.
those watching from home, who've been following along and know that we've already transferred a significant amount from that line item to cover our snow and ice. We did have a number of retirements earlier this year and resignations. And so obviously when people leave the town's employment, and if they took health insurance, those funds are retained, they're still budgeted. So that's where we find ourselves very fortunate to have that surplus to be able to put towards some of these unexpected overages. It does leave us with $8,000 in that health insurance line that would be rolled to free cash. And any funds that we don't expend on the next payroll, which would only be 3 days of the remaining 3 days of the fiscal year FY26, would obviously be retained and rolled to free cash.
I have a question for this, if I may. Because it's dispatch and dispatch was district at that point, or this is for 26.
Yeah.
They were still regional at this point. Was this was this captured in the regional assessments and just the, like, is
So-
my questioning?
Yeah, no, your question is questioning.
Sorry.
So, as of June 30th of this, FY26, the dispatch was still a Rutland department. The assessments for FY26 were have all been paid. I would like to say with some assurance that this amount would be captured in either the assessments or the grant, because the assessments don't cover the full cost of the dispatch, nor does the grant. However, it is a deficit that we're carrying, and so I guess the short answer is it's probably not covered by either, because if it was in the assessment and or
We wouldn't have
the
the-
district grant, we wouldn't have the actual deficit that's clearly there. I don't know how we ended up $30,000 in deficit in our dispatch salary line. I wasn't here when we put those budgets together or did those assessments, but those funds have been expended through salary, and I appreciate the board's voting in favor to cover that, because unlike some of our other transfers that we've asked for, this is a liability that needs to be covered.
I'm not
No,
insinuating that we
I-
should have carry the liability at all. I just wanna understand how this particular instance happened,
It's,
and
I think clearly, we didn't budget whether there was overtime costs that were incurred that we didn't anticipate. And now that we're down to the end of the fiscal year, that, those costs could have happened, in October of last year, they're just now catching up to us. So, without doing a full, autopsy on that budget, I really can't tell you when we went off track, but we did. The upside is that as of now, they are their own district. So once we pay our assessment, we have paid our assessment, and we have met our responsibilities for regional dispatch.
And can I just emphasize for me personally and for the community that as, because I believe the town administrators are on the board, just to ensure that there is accurate and transparent,
Yeah.
on the fiscal side of that whole organization.
Absolutely. So we just received our grant funding from the state. We've received an additional $125,000 that will be shared among the 5 communities. So our actual assessment that we voted at the town meeting has gone down. So mid fiscal year, we'll be receiving a refund for a portion of those funds. So I think this is a better way of managing it.
And just please also make sure that the grant reimbursement requirements are being met also.
Yes,
These.
yes. Yes, well, that's up to the district now.
I understand, but I don't want there to suddenly be, I don't want the district or any organization to have a year-end deficit because
Paperwork wasn't being filed. So I guess just further along to that point, when we get into personnel updates, they have hired 2 new positions within that dispatch unit. One is an accountant and one is a support service coordinator, and that support service coordinator's role is the treasury as well as procurement. So that responsibility is now shifted to a standalone position, and I anticipate that will ease the responsibilities that have been put on the director and the deputy director to do a lot of other tasks over and above managing the dispatch unit, so.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, yeah.
So then I would make a motion to approve the regional dispatch transfer request for dispatch wages as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, any more discussion about that? All in favor?
Mattson, aye.
Wait a minute.
Second eye.
And Dib, aye, thank you very much.
Those transfer requests also have to be approved by the finance committee. They have a meeting Thursday night, and we'll take those up. And the last day to complete transfers is July 15th, so you've officially seen the last of it.
Hooray.
Hooray!
Yeah, all right. Number 12, somebody just stepped out, so I'm gonna hold on that. We actually have one item that is not listed under old business tonight. We are going to take it up as old business. It came in this afternoon and we should have added it as old business. It is the 1-day liquor license, which is, I believe, now in your packet. I'm just looking for it, for the Rutland Sportsman's Club. So they sent us the document a little late today, but they're now all caught up and they've sent us all of their requests for the rest of the season. As we discussed last time, we're going to issue them meeting by meeting so that just in case something rains out, they can not be paying for a license that they ended up not using. So currently, the only thing we would take action on tonight is the first request, which is for the concert for this coming Friday and for next Friday.
I would make a motion to approve the liquor license for this Friday, the 10th, and next Friday, the 17th, for Rutland Sportsman's Club for the concerts on the Common as presented in our packet.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second motion.
Thank you. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Mattson, aye.
Wait a minute.
Second eye.
And Dib, aye. All right, I'm gonna keep going. We'll come back to foundation formula in a second. Number 13, board and committee code of conduct. That's something that was actually brought up to the board way back in 2018 by our first town administrator, Margaret Nardowitz. It was updated once, as far as we can tell. And so the document you have in your packet is the most recent one we have. At the time, that board reviewed it and then extrapolated that out to all of the boards and commissions that are under our purview and shared it with the elected boards to do with as they wish. We could simply approve it tonight if you've read through it all, or we could talk about edit changes, or we could push it another meeting if you need a little more time.
Personally, I'd like to shift it to another meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a lot,
Yeah, it is.
it's a
I
lot.
agree.
Okay,
And I think I want to be sure, I agree with pushing it. I wanna be sure that from a legal standpoint, we're good with everything
Right.
that is in it. 'Cause and I can look from my, haven't had an opportunity to. I can look from my knowledge to make sure that there's nothing that I've heard would stand, rumblings from like on the MMA side and everything that stands out, but just to make sure that what we're asking is legally
Able to be asked.
right.
Okay.
Right.
Fair enough. Okay, same thing for town building committee. Actually, that didn't make it into the packet, right, Heather?
Correct.
Okay, so we're gonna skip that. So for 13 and 14, we will put that on to our next meeting to review again. Number 15, state-owned land. We have 2 items right now that are at the state level that it's a really good idea that we start advocating for. And Jean mentioned it really quickly. So there is currently a set of listening sessions on the pilot program. That is state-owned land. They pay in lieu of taxes. And that commission, which was recently established, is going across the state in July. There are dates all over the place, July 14, 16, 20, 24, and then one in Orange that doesn't have a date yet. I believe Jean sent everybody the registration link to it. I have it as well. I will be able to go to Orange. The more people that go to this, and we're talking to you too, it does not have to be elected officials, it can be anybody at all, to go and advocate, because more than 25% of Rutland's land is owned by the state. And some of it is watershed and some of it is not. And we know somebody at town meeting, I don't know if you remember, threw out a figure of $27 per acre. We actually haven't been able to confirm that yet. But either way, we certainly don't receive from the state the value of the land. Now, this is a huge problem out in Western Mass as well, and it's a Western Mass senator that has sort of taken the lead role in this. But again, it's so important that we advocate for ourselves on this. If we want money from the state, if we want to get our fair share from the state, this is one of those options. It's this, and it's foundation formula. So we highly encourage you to please attend these if you can.
And there is a form, if I may, a form that you can submit if you're unable to attend any of the listening sessions for the pilot program, but you would like to provide.
Yes.
There is a link for a form also. So I don't know if maybe we can get that,
Let's get this
a little
up.
blurb put
Yeah.
up on the website and everything.
Yep.
Please.
All right, I will circle back, the Foundation Formula Committee. We have a wonderful document from a resident who was here and then apparently had to leave. Did she leave her stuff? And it outlines who you can contact and what you can say regarding the foundation formula. So we're very much hoping that we can get somebody from the Wachusett District onto this Foundation Budget Review Committee that they are about to seat. And yet again, there's one or two big reasons why we are consistently in a tough spot when it comes to income and having to rely so heavily on residential taxes. And the foundation formula is absolutely the top reason. So please make your voice heard. Please reach out to your elected officials. Please send letters, emails, phone calls, whatever you are capable of, and share why this is so important. And again, this document, which we have already, I saw it today, shared on our social media, it's probably up on the website too, gives you all of the information that you need in order to do that advocacy. So thank you very much for doing that. If Sherry comes back, we will certainly have her talk on it more. Town Administrator update.
Great, thank you. So we'll start with the item under new business, the public safety update over the July 4th holiday. The Rutland Fire Department responded to 15 emergency incidents between July 3rd and July 5th. All responses were described as routine in nature. And mutual aid was also provided on 2 occasions due to overlapping calls. There were no significant incidents reported specific to 4th of July activities. As far as the police department, very similar. They had minimal calls. They refer to them as very routine. So all in all, I think we managed the weekend unscathed. But still, much appreciation to the staff. There were two officers and 2 firefighters on duty the entire weekend, and A special thanks to Deputy Quinn. He took a third position for Friday night just to make sure that we did have one person extra to cover if anything came up. So we've had some really crazy staff transitions over the last couple of weeks. As I reported, we did manage our layoffs. It was, in fact, probably one of the hardest things I've ever done in this role, and just extra appreciation to those staff members for handling that information and that news and those layoffs with professionalism and integrity, and they're definitely a tremendous loss to the community. So non-related to the layoffs, we did receive a retirement letter from Library Director Carrie Remington. She has officially announced that after 30 plus years of exceptional service to the town of Rutland, that she is about done with that, and her final day will be July 20th. I know that the trustees are working on a transition plan for the director role, and also hopefully some event planning. So I'll leave that there, but again, that's very exciting.
That's our next meeting. Can you ask her if she would be willing to come in and be recognized?
Absolutely. In other resignation notice, we Tamika Murphy, we reported that she had her last meeting with the select board. She has accepted a new role with our dispatch district. She is their new support service coordinator. As you know, her role was reduced from 40 hours to 28. It just simply was not sustainable for her to maintain so few hours and still make a meaningful contribution to her household. So with much regret, after 10 years, we've accepted her letter of resignation and wish her all the success. She will stay on as the Conservation Commission's admin. They have a revolving fund in their WPA funds, so they will fund that position through their own resources. So that is, she'll still be around and a familiar face. Ben Barakian, who is our assistant town clerk, his position was also reduced to 20 hours, and he is also looking to stay connected and provide supplemental income. So I have hired him as our interim executive assistant to help me with some work around the office while I try to make a meaningful recruitment effort for a permanent executive assistant. Tamika's shoes are very large to fill, and I don't want to jump into that without giving it thorough consideration. One of the payroll clerk in the treasurer collector's office, that position was eliminated in its entirety, but she has reapplied for the water sewer clerk position at the DPW, which is a 12-hour position, but she will transition to that role hopefully in the next week or two. Jacob Conway, who is our studio manager for our PEG Access, has submitted his letter of resignation. He has accepted a new offer quite a bit of distance away, so he's not able to do both roles. As you know, he has been an absolute lifeline as I call him the calm in the storm whenever our tech goes crazy. He's always the one to put it back together again for us. Working with the PEG director, Rose Wine, to determine how we will best replace or fill the tasks that Jacob has done. We wish him all the best. Lastly, the updates to inspectional services. As you know, that the trio, including the alternates, resigned in the last couple of weeks as a result of the reduction to their hours. They just didn't feel worth it or sustainable to them to also carry through to FY27. We did a I felt like it was speed dating. I did some lightning interviews, but I have hired a building inspector, electrical inspector, and plumbing inspector. And they all started this afternoon. I'm really excited. They seem they're well aware of our financial situation and the reduction to hours, but willing to do what they can. They're all otherwise employed, so this is in addition to their regular jobs. But they are gonna do the best they can to complete inspections as we need them. I've also asked them to take a look at the the budget structure of our inspectional services and make recommendations for how we can make it more sustainable and also provide better inspectional services than what we're currently budgeted for. So I think that's it, although it hardly seems possible that that's it. It's been wild. Any questions, concerns?
Thank you so much.
I wanna, oh, sorry.
The inspectional thing is huge. The fact that we got new people in on the Monday after the holidays.
And I really think they're gonna be great. Much like all of our staff, our outgoing inspectors were just such staples in the community. Everybody knew them, everybody had them on speed dial, and so I think, and they also, the new inspectors are also well aware of how busy Rutland's construction field is, and but they're great, and it also helps that they're looking to do a lot of their own scheduling, because of course they're working their hours in between their other jobs, and so it's going to take a lot of the burden off Lynn Miller, who is been the admin coordinator in that office, and since her hours have also been reduced, knowing that they're a little more self-sufficient, I think will be helpful to her as well. So
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Is there any other business to come before the board?
I just have one more thing.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, the RDIC completed their review of the RFP for Rutland Heights. There's the additional 51 acres. So they have finished that RFP, and we have set it up for advertising. That will be available to would-be bidders on July 15th with an expected bid opening date of August 25th. So if people are interested in that project, please keep an eye open for the July 15th bid advertising.
If I may, was that, and I haven't been following, so I apologize, because I'm sure it's in their meetings, and so I apologize. Was that for the entirety of the remaining acreage and not specific parcels, or
It's for the entirety of the remaining
Okay.
acreage.
And I think that's similar to how the original was put out, was entirety or parts thereof or something,
Right,
so.
right.
Okay.
The actual bid document is almost identical. There's just some tweaks to the description of the property to obviously address that it's the remaining land as opposed to the full original parcel.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
Sorry about that.
And thank you for everything. I know it's been a crazy, hectic, chaotic couple months, and so thank you, and thank you to all the staff again for your perseverance, and I wish everyone the best of luck in their future endeavors, those who have departed or are departing, and I really want to express my gratitude to everyone who's still here and staying here, because I know it's not an easy time right now, and so I really appreciate that.
It's gonna take some getting used to. I mean, even not having the public in the buildings on Wednesdays and Thursdays is an adjustment for us. You know, we're so used to that general interaction, and reminding ourselves to make sure that we're scheduling our time and scheduling appointments to meet that schedule. But I think we'll adjust and, you know, we will stabilize. And now I can get into sort of some of the work that makes this job really rewarding, like RFPs and goal setting. And I mean, that's the work that you get involved in this line of work to do. So looking forward to turning the page.
All right, so we did have one item under correspondence. We automatically would waive reading unless a member wanted to have a discussion about it. That said, I would take an adjournment to executive session for the reasons as noted, only to return to adjourn.
Would we adjourn from executive session?
Yeah, we could, since it says that, sure.
So moved.
Second.
All right, and just for notes, as noted in our agenda, it is for reason number 3, 2 different items. All in favor?
No,
Wait a minute.
favor?
Yep, all in favor?
Roll call.
That's an aye.
Thank you.
Oh, aye.
Second,
Thank you.
Thank you, have a
Good
good
night.
night.
good night.
Whitman?
Wait a minute.
Excellent, Dib aye. We are adjourned to executive session.